Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Bonjour, Mr. President, Madam. Thank you for taking the time. The basic idea, Mr. President, was that we speak to you because you're going to be awarded the Charlemagne Prize on Thursday. But we cannot limit ourselves to speaking about Europe alone because we have a very important topic. That's right. You tried to save the Iranian nuclear deal when you were in Washington. Why did you fail? I think the most important thing is to maintain stability and peace in the Middle East. In Washington, and I have said this, by the way, I had understood that President Trump wanted to leave the agreement from 2015. And during our joint press conference, I had suggested that we work on a broader framework. And I am very sorry about his decision. I think it is a mistake. And this is why we Europeans have decided, like we reiterated yesterday, to remain within the agreement from 2015, as I reminded President Rouhani. We negotiated and signed this agreement, and it allows us to control the nuclear defense activity in Iran until 2025. But this agreement needs to be completed on nuclear activities until 2025. Ballistic activities in the region and regional activities of Iran in Iraq, Yemen, and Syria. When I was in Washington, I said to President Trump, don't tear everything up, but if some things worry you, let's strengthen this framework. And he decided to create tension. I think this was meant to go beyond to something broader. This is what we have to do among European countries, with the EU, with the United Kingdom, Germany and France. We have to reaffirm that we are attached to the agreement from 2015 because the Iranian regime cannot take its activities up again. Well, you have heard that they are stalling. That's what they said in their declaration of yesterday. There is no escalation. And the European decision allows us to stop activities for now and to limit escalation. And this is why we have to work together with our partners in order to limit an escalation of tension in the region. And this is what we have been trying for months now. And this is also why we have to broaden already the topics in order to bring all the parties back to a larger security and stability framework for the region. So you are saying that the Europeans are going to try to remain in the agreement and adopt it. But what does it really mean without the United States? What is it worth without them? Is it a proposal that's sufficient for Iran? Well, this is going to be our topic in the coming weeks and months, and it's the mandate that we gave our foreign ministers in the EU and in Iran. What are you going to be able to propose? Well, it's the agreement that we signed. Is everything over now because one of the signatories draws out? But the others are reaffirming that they are committed. I think in any event, it is a pity because we had anticipated and now we can regret his decision, but it's important that we all remain obsessed by stability and peace in the region. But the situation is very dangerous. And are transatlantic relations damaged? Well, there are some elements of tension, but there are also elements of very strong anchoring. And I think we can go beyond this through a larger negotiation that I proposed already in last September during the UN Assembly. With Angela Merkel and Theresa May, we want to work in this direction. And we have also plans on the commercial level, and I think this has to be respected. We are a very strong trade power. The United States are an ally, a partner, together, but we have rules to abide with the WTO rules, and we have to respect them and have others respect them as well. It is very important that we Europeans maintain the multilateral framework. We have a true convergence in our views, and we work together and fight against terrorism together with the United States. In Syria, we are working together in the international coalition. In Africa, we work together in the Sahel and Sahara zone against Islamist terrorism. So you see, we have some disagreements, but nevertheless, and most importantly, we have a common interest, the will to work for our common security in the same direction. We are now at a historical point, and we have to maintain this multilateral order which we created at the end of the Second World War, and that is sometimes in jeopardy. We have to create the strong multilateralism, as I said in Washington. France, Germany, and Great Britain negotiated together with Iran. Now, in Europe, you have reform ideas that we don't endorse. Are you disappointed with Angela Merkel? Not at all. I am waiting for her reply. This is not our only topic that we talk about. Germany waited for a long time for France to complete its reforms, and I am not here to give good grades, bad grades, or to say I'm disappointed. We work together, we are partners. I think that the Chancellor and her government is going to join us in this historic moment and work together for a stronger Europe, a more united and more sovereign and more democratic Europe. That's our challenge. Yes, but for those who follow the events, I think you see that the German government is not working as quickly as you had expected, because we have a different method and we also have different views. Speaking about an EU finance minister, but Germany is not endorsing that. Everything that you envision is not going to be possible. Are you aware of that? Well, I never said that everything that I propose you have to take it or leave it all. I have an ambition, I make proposals, but I am convinced that it was my duty to do so. The current status quo in Europe is bad for everybody. Our sovereignty is being tested by everything that's happening. The Iranian crisis, trade crisis, the challenges of the digital world, of internet, energy transition, migration, and our capacity to protect ourselves. We have to make progress, and we have to be a more integrated European avant-garde. I would like an economic government, a minister, but you call it whatever you want. Actually, the end is what counts more than the names. I just want a Europe that is more democratic and less bureaucratic. I want this Europe to be more united concerning the essential points, able to protect itself against the big risks. That's why I want stronger political integration in the Eurozone. I mean, a policy of solidarity and responsibility. Because in the last years, Europe was divided several times, a division between the North and the South because of the financial crisis. An economic crisis. And then a division between the East and the West because of the migration crisis. Do you think we can go on like that forever? No. We have to create more solidarity in front of all those dangers. And that's the reform that I proposed. I am waiting now for the German reply. Together with the Chancellor, we have the target of getting a reply in June. I am following the German political life. You had elections, a new government, but I think it would be a mistake to formulate a reply that lacks an ambition. Mr. President, I have a delicious question for you. I see you wink. In Germany, you have often been called Jupiter or Caesar. 1 year into the presidency, are you still a superhero? Well, I have never presented myself as such, so I leave the responsibility for this comparison to you. They are not always true. I think from the first day I have been working hard. I was elected President of the French Republic by the French people who made a choice between extreme right-wing candidate and what I had to propose. And many thought that it would be impossible to be elected on the strength of a European program. I know that my project is very hard to carry out, and I have been working without respite from day one. If you cannot manage, for instance, to amend the treaty, if Germany does not have a solution, and this is to conclude, if we don't find a solution, does the EU still have a future? I'm a fighter, and I never dwell on bad things. I'm going to put all my energy into convincing and convincing some more. I think the best way to convince is to do the job at home. That's what I said from the beginning. And this is why I waited until September to give my proposals for reform. And then you have to explain, to be humble, to be constant. I have no lessons to give. I just say what I am suggesting. And then I have to go on working and work some more. And until things are a reality, I am not going to choose that option, that scenario, because I think that would be dramatic for all of us and bad for Germany as well. Germany had the courage and the strength of character to carry out very deep economic reform already 10 years ago and benefited a lot from the Eurozone. But the situation where we are now is not going to be able to continue like that. So even Germany should not remain in this situation. During the migration crisis, Germany was confronted by selfishness from all the other countries and had this experience. Now we have a more responsible Europe where the countries are under pressure to reform. And so we need more transparency, more responsibility of the member states. But we need more solidarity in Europe on economy, finance, and migration. We need more sovereign Europe that better protects itself against the risk, a more united Europe. And I really want your viewers to understand that it's good for them. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup. Merci madame, merci monsieur.